Hard to believe this is my 10th year here at Hicksville and at Rotary, so thank you for all you guys do for us. And with that, I'm going to actually have my seniors come up one by one, tell you a little bit about themselves, maybe future plans, all that kind of stuff, some of their memories, what they learned from the season. So, Peyton, you're going first? Peyton Tunis, you got to start first. Peyton had a bunch of awards as a football player this year and over the last several years. He was first team all-conference on offense and defense, all-district, and then also he was also second team all-state this year. So he was decent for us the last couple of years. So.
Hello, I'm Peyton Tunis. My parents are Eddie and Jody Tunis. My grandparents are Eddie Houston, Rexanne Tunis, and Elaine Black and Chuck Black and Harold Weber. What football at Hicksville meant to me, playing football, Hicksville football meant was I was being a part of something big. My favorite memory was winning GMCs, going on a 9-0 run, winning with the boys, and winning our home playoff game in our black uniforms. What I've learned, I learned more than just football. But I learned as a young man how to be a young man and how to step up when things get hard in life. What I will miss hanging with the guys all the time and showing up to practice and having a great time.
Next, be Jake Greer, come on up, and he was also first team quarterback, first team punter, was the offensive player of the year, and Peyton was also the conference defensive player of the year this year. Jake was also second team all-state, and both he and Peyton together broke pretty much every offensive passing receiving record Hicksville's ever had. So they won't be hard to replace at all next year, though. So anyway, Jake Greer.
My name's Jacob Greer. My parents are Melissa Ralph and Philip Greer. My grandparents are Sally and Cork Lee. Football has meant a lot to me here at Hicksville. Growing up, being the water boy, and then coming in freshman year, jumping right in, playing with the seniors has had a huge impact on my life. And my favorite memory I'd have to say is hosting a playoff game the past 3 years in a row and winning 2 out of the 3. And then this year we won the GMC title, which was awesome. And then football's taught me that it takes a family to create something great, and you can't step into a battle alone. You have to have your brothers by your side. And it's also taught me a lot of life lessons, and it's brought me to be a better team player. And what I'll miss most, I'll just miss hanging out with the guys and going to practice every day. I honestly thought practice were more fun than games. I'll miss playing other GMC schools and just competing and listening to Coach Smith's awesome speeches that he gives us.
They're lucky enough to get a speech today, though. So who's next? Gabe, you going? Gabe was voted as first team all-conference linebacker. Right, was also team captain, and he was one, if you ever saw or were down on the field after the games, we were having a prayer with everybody who was down there. Gabe was the one that was leading those all season long. So that's awful valuable. When Jake was talking about family, I think having someone that can step up and lead like that on and off the field is super valuable. So Gabe Contreras.
My name is Gabe Contreras. My parents are Rick and Autumn Contreras. Grandparents are Dick and Sarah Mendoza and Richard and Jerry Mills. Hicksville football has meant a lot to me. It's been a way I can play for certain people and have a sense of selflessness. Just a few people I've played for this year were Sherm Schock, Noah Erickson, and obviously all the players and the coaches and the whole team. It's also got me closer to Christ through the sport, through Australian FCA and Coach Smith. My favorite memory was after a rough Fairview game. It was close and down to the last minutes. We barely won 21-20, and we were a little hurt because it wasn't supposed to be much of a game. but we came back the next week and stomped on Sonora 35-0. So we really stepped up. What I've learned is to become a man, you need to really step up, and when things get hard, you need to learn to bounce back and apply that to everything you do. And I think we've done that a lot through these past 4 years in the sport, and Coach Smith has taught us that in many ways. What I'll miss most is being with my boys and having a close bond through this sport and doing things like team meets and just doing all these great things and achieving a lot of things together. Thank you.
Next up will be Nathan Arend. He came over from Fairview. He wasn't able to play till week 6 because of the way the transfer rules work. But his first game was Fairview week, which is where he came from. And so that was kind of, and we made sure he was captain that week. We go off with a coin toss just for that. So he was a huge addition, though, in the last 7 games of the season. So Nathan Arend. And it took me, how many weeks to figure out how to say his last name? It was Arend, I mean, whatever. Arend.
Hey, I'm Nathan, and my parents are Matt and Christy Arend. My grandparents are Carl and Kay Clark, and my grandpa is Bob Arend. Football has taught me how to play as a team, and each person has a role. My favorite memory this season probably was, well, just moving to Hicksville in general, but my favorite memory probably would be the Wade Trace game when we were still on the field close to the end of the game. We kind of just realized we won GMCs, and that was a good feeling. And then I've learned that everyone has a role in something, and to be successful, everyone has to do their role to the best effort, whether you're the left tackle or the quarterback or whatever. And the thing I'll miss the most is I'll miss competing on Friday nights and team bonding the most. Thank you.
Who's next? Mason, you going? Mason Van Atta. He was the only senior that didn't play all 4 years, right? But he smartened up his sophomore year and started playing and was a second team DB this year in GMC. So Mason Van Atta.
Hello, I'm Mason Van Atta. My parents are Todd and Danielle Van Atta. Grandparents are Mike and Deb Meyer and Joyce and Bill Van Atta. Football has meant a lot to me. I've played football since 5th grade with these guys, and just created a strong friendship with all of them, and it's by far my favorite sport. My favorite memory is winning GMCs or showing Tamar out on their own field, 35-0. It has taught me a lot about becoming a leader on and off the field, and how to take responsibility not for my own actions but for the team. And I'll miss playing my favorite sport with the guys and playing Friday night games every Friday. Thank you.
Next will be Daniel Monsivias. He played center for us, and he was the first team all-conference at center. So, Daniel. And he was second team all-district.
Hi, my name is Daniel Monsivias. My mom's Beatrice Monsivias. My grandparents are Santiago and Ramona Monsivias. Playing football at Hicksville meant for me, it meant a lot. I always loved the school, and I love playing with my team. My favorite memory is hosting 3 years in a row playoffs. That's one thing that was really hard to do, but the group of guys that we had every single year, we could do it, and also winning the GMC title this year. I've learned that by football, like, nothing's ever given to you. You have to work for what you want, and obviously the seniors wanted it a lot, so we put a lot of work in and made sure our team put a lot of work in. One thing I'll miss is definitely the Friday night lights and taking control on the field. That's all I got. Thank you.
Logan Sanderson. Played all 4 years, played wide receiver, played DB, all kinds of special teams, and was one of the leading guys in the weight room for us.
Hi, my name is Logan Sanderson. son of Craig and Renee Sanderson. My grandparents are Denny and Sherry Sanderson. Playing football has meant a lot to me these past 4 years. The people around me have made it the best experience of my life. My favorite memory was winning the GMC title as a senior this year. Through football, I've learned to have a good work ethic and stay positive through the tough times. I miss wearing the Aces uniform and playing with my teammates under the lights on Friday nights. Thank you.
Lucas Yoder, come on down. Lucas played, I don't know how many different positions for us. Came in, you played even maybe some running back at one time as a freshman, and linebacker, and center, and defensive tackle, linebacker, defensive end, a little bit of everything, jack of all trades. Lucas. And a great first name.
Hi, I'm Lucas Yoder. My parents are Jason and Michelle Yoder, and my grandparents are Bob and Naomi Yoder and Linda Jenkins. Playing football at Hicksville has shown me how strong a brotherhood can be, just knowing that everybody every Friday is going to give everything they have on the field, and we all got each other's backs no matter what. And my favorite memory would probably be shutting Tenora out on their field this year, or winning GMCs this year, and having home playoff games since sophomore year. And also a game that wasn't really pretty but was really fun, I thought, due to the conditions, was Ayersville this year. It was like crazy, muddy, and disgusting, but it was fun. From football, I think I've learned that you get out what you put in. If you give it your all, you can really feel it come back to you. But if you're just on the team for the ride, no matter what happens, it's just whatever. Nothing really matters. I'm gonna miss seeing everyone on the practice field every day and having fun out there, and I don't know, just competing for a GMC every year or always being on the verge of a playoff run was just always exciting. So I'm definitely gonna miss that. Thank you.
Andrew was first team all-conference at defensive tackle for us. Come on down.
Hi, I'm Andrew Carrier. My parents are Joe and Jen Carrier. My grandparents are Helen Combs and Homer Carrier. My mom's side is Dorothy Davis and Norm Davis. I've enjoyed playing football. It's meant a lot to be able to be on a team and come from a family that really doesn't know anything about football. I learned it in 6 years, so pretty happy for that. And then probably favorite thing that I played was Sonora Week. We were out on the field. I shaved my beard since then, but I had a pretty impressive beard. One of the refs decided to comment about that in the middle of the game out on the field. We had a small conversation about that out there. But the biggest thing I'll probably miss is being able to dress up on Friday night and play the game with the other seniors. So.
We had two seniors that couldn't be here. Stephen Gardner's at Fort County, and then Ethan Wilhelm had a college visit. So we had 11 seniors this year, though. Like I said, 10 out of the 11 played all 4 years for us. So that's pretty nice when you've got that many guys who have been playing for that long and playing together. So I guess what I want to talk about a little bit is just kind of the highs and the lows, and the kids kind of touched on it a little bit. And one reason that football is my favorite sport, even though growing up, basketball is my favorite sport to play. Because, all it took was you, a basketball, and hoop, you can go out there and practice for hours and get better at it. Football is a sport that's not a lot of fun to get better at. It involves a lot of weight room stuff, a lot of running. You just don't go out and play catch with yourself, and it's a very physically demanding sport. A lot of the work that goes into it, people don't see. It doesn't make a lot of sense from an investment standpoint why you're going to spend, 2 to 3 hours a day practicing for something that's going to last for 48 minutes on Friday night. And even then, you're only playing a chunk of the game. So it doesn't make a lot of sense, but the one other part of it that I love too is when we start practicing with these guys and, start lifting weights and stuff in June and July, and we get the pads on, it's miserable around here in June and July, and even in August. And, we've been fortunate enough to end the season when we've had some pretty miserable weather and it's been cold. I mean, It's gorgeous out there today, being 60 degrees, but our last playoff game was, it was in the 20s, over there at Defiance. And so you start the season in 85, 90 degree weather, high humidity, and you end the season in 20 degree weather. And basically the elements don't, you don't get to play in an air-conditioned gym or do whatever. You play with whatever the field conditions are, whatever the weather is. With however many guys come out. We've had years where we've only had 29 kids come out for the team. We've had years where we've had 50. So it's just one of those kind of emotional roller coaster games. And, if things don't go well on Friday night, you have to wait a whole nother week to try to get it right. Where some other sports, you might play Tuesday, you might lose or whatever, but then you have a game Thursday or a game Friday and Saturday, to try to get back on the win track. But we've got to wait a whole week just to kind of get that taste out of our mouth if we lose. But, we started slow again. I think it's kind of what we do around here, I guess, in football, is we started 0-2 for, I can't remember how many years, really, that we've been to. Actually, I remember 2009 was the last time we were 2-0. But we also lost the last two games of the season that year by a combined 91-0. So, that really stuck in me there in 2009, and so we took our non-conference schedule and we started playing Archibald, and we played Coldwater, we played Crestview, and we actually played teams that are good. And there's some other schools, I think, in our conference that play a very weak non-conference schedule, and they start the season 3-0, 4-0, whatever it is, then we end up playing them, and somehow we find a way to beat most of them. So I like to look back on what we do non-conference-wise. So we start 0-2 again. We have some issues off the field, some guys making some poor decisions that we have to discipline them for. We have injuries. I think this is the most injury-ridden year I've ever had. We had how many ACLs? We had 3 guys with knee surgeries. We got shoulders. We've got muscles. It was just a terrible year as far as injury goes. And so I don't think it was very often that we actually had all the guys practicing in the same positions all week long and then playing those positions on Friday nights. So we have to kind of deal with that. The community took a big loss when Sherm Shock passed away. Right after the Antwerp game, we got the news on that and just trying to handle that the right way. The other experiences of just getting crushed by Archibald week 1, 37-0. And then getting crushed again week 12 against Liberty Benton. Those aren't very good, but then I look back to also the highs that we had. Some of my highs, just personally off the field, one of them was after that loss to Crestview, we lost 41-40. That right there is kind of a heartbreaking loss. But then we finished that up. My wife and I jumped in the vehicle at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and Garrett Krall played his first college football game at Iowa. We met the Kralls down there. And it's just to walk into Hawkeye Stadium there and to see a kid that had just worn this jersey and sat here a couple years ago out there playing that game. That was just tremendous, to see that. Also to keep track of guys like Logan Neihart, down at ODU as their starting punter. He punted every single snap they had, and he was actually selected to be, he was the special teams conference player of the year. So it's really neat to see that guys, who have been a part of this program on there playing at Wyoming, playing at ODU. And then one of the other lows that I had too was we were playing at Holgate, and these guys know this story, and we weren't playing very well in the first half. And usually I don't have my cell phone on me or near me during a game, and for whatever reason it was in my pocket there, and I looked at it at halftime. My wife sends me a text that says, "I'm in the ER, but I'm okay." She had to get 6 staples in her head because she hit it on something in the barn we were building. And my dad's in the hospital getting retina surgery to try to save his right eye. And I'm over here with a bunch of goons at Holgate who apparently don't want to win very badly. And I'm thinking, good Lord, why am I here again? Why am I not at home taking care of my family, my wife, whatever? And then as the second half started, one of the Holgate kids got hurt really bad and had to bring out the spine board and the EMS. And you're sitting there, it's like, man, you're just feeling terrible for them. And all of a sudden, Ethan Wilhelm, who's not here, and Gabe Contreras walk over, and they walk past me and say, "Hey, Coach, we're going to go pray for him." And they walked over, and they took a knee, and they got right beside him as they're spine boarding him, and they went and prayed for him. And I went from, why am I here? Why am I doing this? To, that's exactly why you're doing this. Not about the wins, not about the losses, but about helping these guys, hopefully, like Gabe mentioned, take responsibility. And if you want to be a man, there's times you got to step up, you know, and to see those two guys in that instance go over there to another team. You know, it's one thing to go pray for your own guy, but to go pray for the other team, you know, was just incredible. It was an incredible high for me and for the program. Fast forward there, you know, we play Edgerton, and man, that was a miserable night weather-wise. Not necessarily for the fans, but for the kids, it was miserable. And you're talking 80, 85 degrees. The humidity was jacked up, and most of these guys play both ways. And it was a knockdown, drag-out game. And, you know, we decided at the end, we scored with less than a minute to go to get within one. And there was no doubt in our mind, was there, guys? We were going for two. And so that was a no-brainer decision for us. And you knocked them off by 1 point. You know, a couple weeks later, we knock off Tenora 35-0. Once again, we're starting the season 0-2. With injuries, with guys making poor decisions. Next thing you know, you're praying for a kid at Holgate. You're knocking off Edgerton. You're beating Tenora 35-0. Same group of kids, same group of coaches. You know, we go and win another GMC championship at Wayne Trace. That was a really neat night too. Before that game started, with when they had that Perry Sin that passed away, and there was a picture taken from a drone or something way up high. Both teams had circled up before the game even started, and they had a moment of silence for both Sherm and for Perry Sin. It was just another neat moment, I thought, that kind of keeps things back in perspective. So, just like I said, a lot of highs, a lot of lows. That's why I love this sport. These guys have been a part of 3 home playoff games. You know, Hicksville's never been in the playoffs 3 years in a row ever, let alone to have 3 home playoff games and to win two of them. Last thing I kind of want to leave you with here, I know we're running out of time, is it was kind of in the paper a couple times too, what we kind of stand for, the acronym ACE. ACE, what it stands for, and what I've been preaching on to these guys. And that was basically my day one speech, wasn't it? Like, I know we have the talent, I know we can play football, but do we have accountability? Okay, and that's, you know, basically do your job, don't blame, complain, defend, make excuses. Because that accountability builds trust. The more we trust each other, the more I trust you, the more we're going to get out of each other, the more we're going to be able to accomplish. The C stands for character for us, and it's what you do and what you say and where those line up. Because, you know, we can all say one thing but do a different thing, and we want to always raise the bar. It's one thing that's kind of drove me nuts around here and with these guys is they become an all-conference player, then they kind of shut down, hey, that's good enough for me. You know, I want guys to keep raising the bar, to keep getting better and better. That character then helps build that unity and that self-confidence. To me, the more you work for, the more confident you're going to get. I know I'm kind of rushing through these, but... And then our E is effort. That's always finished through the line. If you're going to fail forward. You know, at least fail from trying. That effort builds that extra toughness and resilience. And I think we saw some of those things come down the line as we were playing more and more teams. As we were playing Tenora. Down the wire, I remember these guys. We did a lot of 6 a.m. lifts this year. Remember these guys, as we were getting ready to go for 2, I think it was Daniel that said it. He goes, we've been doing all these 6 a.m. workouts. We are not losing this football game. You know, it's like, okay, finally, when you put all that extra effort into something, it means more to you. And then, to me, I guess I believe that if we create that culture of accountability, character, and effort, and we get things like trust and unity and self-confidence and toughness and resilience, a lot of good things are going to happen regardless of the talent we have. And that's kind of the vision I have for the football program, for the community as a whole, is just if more and more people would act that way, act with that ACE acronym, I think we'd be way better off. And the last thing I guess I always leave at all of our banquets, I have a little poem that was written by Lou Holtz, but he says, I saw a group of men in my hometown, a group of men tearing a building down. With a heave and a hoe and a mighty yell, he swung a beam and the sidewall fell. I asked the foreman, are these men skilled? Are they the kind you'd hire if you wanted to build? He laughed and said, well, no, indeed. Common labor is all I need, for I can tear down in a day or two what it took a builder 10 years to do. I thought to myself as I walked away, which of these 2 roles shall I play? And that's always, like I said, that's how I finish banquets, it's how I finish certain meetings, it's how I talk to my parents. We got a group of men in town. You know, are you going to be the unskilled, the common people that can tear anything down, you know, in one day, or are you going to be that skilled person? We refer to it as the uncommon, you know, and get a little bit better each day and always use that skill to build other people up, to build programs, to build whatever it is you've going on. That's why I love Rotary. I love what you guys do, and I've heard 75 years been doing this, been building and building and building, and it's just incredible. So with that, that's that's all I have. Does anyone have any questions for me or any of the players? Oh, and if you guys can keep bringing foreign exchange students in that play football, we really, really appreciate it. Mr. Huntsman,
Do you plan on retiring from Hicksville School?
do I plan on this year?
No, you're at the end of 30, 35 years.
I honestly have no idea.
Yeah, you do.
But I mean, you know what? People thought I was nuts for leaving Woodland. You know, that's where I grew up. That was my hometown. You know, and to come over here where I knew nobody. But to me, I always felt like the good Lord will lead you wherever He wants you. And so if that's here for the next 30, 40 years, then that's where I'll be. If it's somewhere else, then I guess that's where I'll be.
We appreciate you.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions for me or the boys? Thank you, guys.
Thank you for coming. I don't remember which time, the first time in the last 10 years that I heard you speak here, but I left and I even said to some of the people at the hospital afterwards about how impressed I was about his faith and his value system, and it's always encouraging to hear how you're not only teaching the boys the game of football or the sport of football, but you are teaching them how to have good values and how to be leaders later on in life. So thank you very much.